Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Up on the EDH Rec Twitch stream. This is a weekly AMA interview style show where we bring on well known people in the Magic the Gathering community and ask them lots of annoying questions. I'm your host, Andy Zupke, and joining me tonight as my guest is Kurohitsuki.
Hello,
Say
everyone.
hello. You just did. All right. Talk to
Yeah.
me. God,
Yeah.
off to a terrible start. Can't believe you did that. All right, Kuro.
Yes.
First question, right off the bat. We're getting right into it.
All right.
Big question, the one that's on everybody's minds.
Everybody's minds.
How the hell are you?
I'm doing all right. I gotta say, I'm doing good. Like work, like just day job is like the only thing on my mind. Where in like it's just like, ooh, like we doing really well. Did we not do well? We'll figure it out like tomorrow, sort of thing. But other than that, like we're good. Like we're smooth sailing. I'm loving making Magic content. I'm loving Magic. Tarkir is like super exciting. Um, and work. I'll be going on like a work trip soon and learning a bunch of new things. So I'm like in a good stride right now, to be honest.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that'd make it even better is if you had me back on your stream at some point.
That's true. You know what makes it's actually, what's been the highlight of my when did you start this? About past 3 months, It would be being on here. Finally, one could say. So yeah.
Oh, well, we were very happy to have you. Now, for anybody watching who doesn't know who you are, Kurohitsuki, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of info, who you are, what you do.
Okay, well, hello, I am Kurohitsuki. You can find me at twitch.tv/Kurohitsuki, where I am playing Magic the Gathering Commander and talking all things Commander all the heckin' time. I love EDH. It's like my form of expression and kind of battling against other people and seeing like how they craft their decks and seeing their deck do their things and then beating them anyway. That is all like that's just what I love so very much. So yeah, that's me as a person, and that kind of extends to real life. I love learning new things. I love being able to take what I've learned and putting it into practice. So that's why I've been enjoying work so very much. And yeah, I'm just here for a good time, and just the community's awesome. I love this community. I love this space, and I'm ready to make a positive impact on it.
Excellent. Well, we love to have you, even when you give long-winded answers to very simple questions. Thank you so much, Kurohitsuki.
Okay.
Friends in chat, as I said, this is an AMA show, so go ahead and start dropping those questions for Kuro in the chat. It'll help me if you tag at EDHRecast. Just helps me to see it a little bit easier. But first, we're going to kick things off with a few of my special questions for my good friend Kurohitsuki, and then we'll get to chat's questions. I like to start these things off with having our guest tell us your origin story. How did you get into Magic and content creation?
Well, I got into Magic the Gathering, so I started Magic in 2011 during World Wake. I think that was like the specific first set that I was a part of, but I didn't really start getting like into it until like Scars Block, and that is when I started reading like the lore stories that they were coming out with, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. The combination between like the lore and the game and the watermarks and the mirrors Phyrexians, I fell in love, and I've never looked back since. So started in 2011 in the like last half of high school, got super deep into it, ended up working at a card store for 5 years, and during then is when I started doing content. I was doing content like before, but then like Magic the Gathering Arena came out, and that was like a way to kind of keep into Magic while also kind of just streaming other games. And then I went through like 3 weeks in a row of basically getting like no wins on Arena whatsoever. Like I was just doing so terribly. My win rate was not that it needs to be high, but like it was depressing me. So I'm like, you know what? I have a better time in Commander. So I started playing Commander, found Spell Table, and I know my way around like OBS or just kind of like how to make visuals pop and everything. So that's been like a really nice outlet for that creative talent. And
yeah.
I mean, the rest is history. I just Magic, Commander, spell table, creativity. It's just all just one big thing.
Yeah, and as a frequent guest of your stream, I can tell you that it's very well put together. Your lighting is
Thank you.
absolutely bomb,
Thank
even
you.
better than my amazing show of decks behind me. Just very well done. So,
I appreciate it.
um,
Thank you so much.
so you don't really play on Arena so much anymore, or do you still get back into it every now and then?
Every now and again, like tomorrow, there's the streamer event, so like I'll be
Right.
playing
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
But no, I don't really get to dive into arena specifically. I haven't really like
Mhm.
enjoyed standard in a while. Not that I've really given it a fair shake, so that's for sure. But I mean, listen, I say this all the time. Like if there's certain decks that like are playable
Yeah.
within standard, I'll jump back in. So like for Bloombro, it's like if I could do Otters dot Otter deck, I'll be in there. Um, and if I could do like a really decent Jeskai or Abzan deck, and it feels Vorthosy enough to be like Jeskai and Abzan, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I gotta do.
So you might get
Um,
the urge to start
I
grinding
might
that
get the urge.
ladder.
I might get that itch. I'm super into the idea of that. So, and even then, it's just to play the decks and just to have a good time. Really, you know, however far I get on the ladder is whatever. But just like with Commander, it's just for fun.
Excellent. Now,
Yeah.
Kuro, as a content creator, what would you say is your proudest achievement?
Proudest achievement. It definitely shifts. You know, like with every achievement, I'm like, that's awesome. So then now it's like the next goal is okay, like what does tomorrow look like? You know,
Hmm.
after this height. So like, you know, being on Shuffle Up and Play was absolutely fantastic and wonderful and awesome.
Yeah,
And then
very
it's like,
cool.
okay, now what's the next step? What's like the next like bit of excitement? So I mean, I would say truly it's always having a new height to want to get to, and then at some point I get there and like it's awesome. That feels really really good. And then voraciously going after the next one, right? Like
Hmm.
I like um leveling up in that way. You get to that level and it's like awesome, cool, and then now the game opens up a little bit more. I think that's my biggest like hype as a creator, really.
Okay. So, what's
Yeah.
Prof like in person? What's he like in real life? Is he a cool guy?
Literally exactly as you see on the show.
Uh,
That's one of the reasons. I mean, that's honestly what's one of the reasons why I got into streaming in the first place is because when I first was getting into Twitch in general, I happened to find a Twitch content creator. Her name is Saslin, who like she was herself. She was honestly herself, flaws and all with chat and just like how she played and talked and everything. I'm like, oh, you can be a natural you person even though you're doing content. That kind of opened my eyes to it. So that's what I do. I put my whole self into the content I make. I think you'd be able to say I'm pretty much like I am in person as I am on stream. And
uh,
then I get to meet more people who are like that. So the professor is just like he is on videos in person as well. It was a really, really great time to hang out with him. And when we were making the Shuffle Up and Play episode, it's like every joke, every laugh, everything was naturally flowing, right? Like nothing was like, "Ooh, wait, hold, like let's repeat that joke for later." It's like, nope, that's a joke there, that's a joke there. I
mhm.
was saying I'm gonna play my full art foil Lord of the Rings Islands because that's just what I wanted to do, and there you go.
Excellent. Now,
Yeah.
you were just at MagicCon Chicago, right? I know the answer to
Yes.
this because I saw you there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
follow up, why don't you? Do you have any fun stories from Chicago? Any cool memories? Uh-oh. Chicago
it
was not exciting for Kurohitsuki,
No,
apparently.
the way like so because I've pretty much since like back in 2018 I like took a trip to Japan, and that was like the biggest trip I ever took ever, right? And
Hmm.
then like 2019 I went to TwitchCon. It was like that was the farthest I ever traveled like within country to go do a thing. And then like kind of as the years have gone by and as like content creation has kind of opened new doors for me, I've just been traveling more and more and more, and now with my job I'm traveling even more and more. And so I I kind of just like take everything in when I'm there at the event or at the show site or whatever it is, and that's when I'm absorbing it all and just going like, okay, this was really really great. I might not even remember what place I went to. Like I need to be reminded that Chicago was the last Magic show.
Yeah,
Quite frankly, because like I'm not really remembering Chicago as a place, but I'm remembering that I had really good times with the people that I just love playing games with, love seeing a lot. So in terms of like what were great moments, every single time I got to see someone that I only see online over Spell Table, you know, like every 3 months or
yeah,
something like that, or even longer if I don't get to see them at every event, right? So that is my most like excited time. But in terms of at least like a unique situation that happened in Chicago, I worked at the or not worked, but like I was at the Dragon Shield booth. I got to
yeah.
work with Dragon Shield, and I introduced like this kind of self-made format with Joe Johnson, where it was like a narrativized D&D arch enemy
Sure.
adventure, where I made 8 different little like brawl decks based around 8 different Baldur's Gate or D&D set commanders,
Okay.
and then I played a Tiamat deck behind like a DM screen, but
Of
instead of
course.
like everyone else was drawing cards and playing Magic normally, but I was basically going like behind a DM screen going like, and you
Yeah.
know what? I'm just gonna play this lands because I just have it all laid out in front of me, and this is the card that pops up, and just try to you know put a story behind it. And everyone had a lot of fun. Everyone had a blast. Walked away with smiles and saying, "Oh, we want to do this again." So that was like my highlight of like, cool. I made something new, and people loved it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That sounds like a really cool format.
It was a lot of
Probably
fun.
time consuming to put together, but you make
I
it happen.
don't think about that part. I
Yeah.
choose that part gets blurred out. Okay, it
Yeah.
was sleepless nights, sure, but that's normal for me.
Cool. All right, we're
Yeah,
gonna get some questions in chat
yeah.
here. People
Questions.
watching in chat, don't forget, get those questions in. Tag EDHRECast, and we'll get these questions to Kuro. We're gonna start with SCM Morgan.
Hmm.
Asks, what are some changes or feedback you have for the ambassador or content creator program based on your experience with it?
Huh. There's been enough time that's passed. I would say that, like, I mean, there's been a lot of ideas that I've seen implemented for the ambassador program that were ideas and suggestions that we put through from the beginning, right? Like, I was part of the original group of them. Very, very proud of that. And when I kind of see it popping up this year and everything, it's been really cool to see people have like a much better time in the program. People are getting, the product on time. They're getting offered different like brand deals and everything to do X, Y, and Z. For me personally, just like in the position I am as the content position I'm in, I want to know who the ambassadors are earlier so I can start setting up games immediately
Sure.
versus like 3 days ahead of time. But that's like my only critique from my personal end. But
Mhm.
I would really like to continue to see like collaborative efforts if that's possible. I tend to just make them myself. If I don't, if I feel that there could be a more group dynamic going on, then I'll just try to like get a group of people together. But I would like to see, hey, this is our group of ambassadors that we flew out to WotC to film something. We got to sit down with the designers and everything like that. I know it's very busy, so I don't
Mhm.
like begrudge WotC for not having the ability to do all of that. But that's what I would like to do because I know for a fact I would jump at that opportunity and be all over. It's like, okay, cool. We got like one day to film. Let's make the best out of this.
Excellent. I saw that Diana just left the program. She was leading the whole
Mhm.
content creator program. How did you feel about her leaving that? I thought she was a pretty popular person in that
Oh,
program.
absolutely. I love Diana. And as soon as I got the email, my day was ruined. Absolutely ruined. It was like my heart sank. The rest of the day was just awful. Like I was
Yeah.
not happy. There was like a certainly a chilling effect for myself to just go like, okay, like not everything is forever, and that's something that I need to remember for myself, to just like kind of make sure I'm taking when opportunities arise, make sure that I jump to them and hold on to them while I can, but it's okay when they go, and
Mhm.
feeling like I have one less person at Wizards of the Coast to like talk to and confide into. Yeah, absolutely, that sucks, and it did feel like losing a friend for sure.
Sure.
But then we move over to tomorrow, and she made a post. I got to express how much she's meant to me, and that was like a lot to get off my chest, and that felt great, right? So, and she's still around, she's still alive, right? So
Yeah.
it's it did suck, and it does suck, and I look forward to seeing how things will change since her departure. I hope it's for the
Yeah.
better. I hope that content creators are still talked to for feedback and everything. But yeah, we're definitely entering a new era, and we'll see how it works out. But I have faith that in the past while, Diana has proven that content creators can be talked to, that they can be approached and reached out to for
Mhm.
different activations with Wizards, and that there's a positive benefit from it too, right? Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's not just, hey, we can our whole budget went to Post Malone this year and that's it, right? It's like
Yeah.
that's great, obviously,
Yeah.
but also working within your community and making sure that they're able to show off product and everything. That is an important aspect, and when it makes sense to do, then they do it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Let's see. Jay Sherwood asks, "What's your Tarkir clan?" This is from a personality and value standpoint rather than gameplay.
Rather than gameplay, personality, and values, it is Abzan. Personality and values, it's Abzan. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like the family nature that they have. I like the very much like everyone is together here. We might have the different ancestral lines and everything, but we're all together and working towards like our kind of like united goal. And they also very much like honor the dead. They can talk to their ancestors. That's something that like I personally like. I find that appealing because that's not really something that I really get to do. Um, so having that physical and tangible link to the past, I find very, very interesting and super cool. And if you could give me a shield wall and castles, I'm probably going to be on that faction, whatever it is. I love shields.
Very cool. What are your two favorite commanders you're currently playing? That's a question from Crust to Dust.
Ooh, okay. So I have like 53 commander decks.
That's a
And
lot.
I'm kind of like, and they're all forever decks for me too. Like that's probably the worst part. They're not like temporary. I don't do like a temporary flash in the pan, like, oh, I'll have it just for like this one set and move on.
Yeah.
I kind of I choose a commander because I fall in love with that character or like the card and its design. So it's very hard for me to let go. I don't typically let go until there's like a new card that kind of does things in a much more fun way. So like my most recent commander, I built the new Shaiko and Narset Unify from the precon. So like
Mm-hmm.
once I master that and I feel very confident that the deck is brought to like a pretty decent peak, it will stop being like my favorite to keep on trying out, but it'll still be in my repertoire. But like my favorite deck is Sidri Galvanic Genius. She has been since she's ever like came out. And that is I'm happy that she's in a place where I can actually win games with her far more consistently with the newer cards that come out. So she's my favorite. And always is. And then damn, I love Aragorn, King of Gondor, man. It's so me. It's so
Yeah.
flavorful. I can't stop playing it. I bring that out when it's just like I feel just like vibing today. I feel like vibing right now.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm kind of the opposite, Crow. I don't think I have anything that I would consider a forever deck.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Most
I
people don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
I take decks apart pretty frequently. Like if I have a deck and it's done the thing like more than a handful of times, then I say, well, I don't. I do like Andy in Toy Story. I said, I don't want
Just
to play with
I'm
you
done.
anymore, man.
Yeah,
And I take
exactly.
it apart. And that's why I've never blinged out a deck because I've never
Mhm.
had a deck that I knew that I would keep long enough that it would be worth it.
That's fair. And I don't even necessarily bling out my decks either unless I
Mm-hmm.
just happen to have that bling, right? Like
Sure.
if the foil's 50 cent more, fine. If the full art's even cheaper, like they tend to be, I'll do that. But I typically don't even go like, okay, here's my Aragorn deck. Am I gonna bling it out? It's $3 more for the foil. We're good. Like it's all right. I don't need the foil Boromir. It's okay.
That's actually kind of the limit for me too. If it's like
Mhm.
$2 or $3 more, I won't get the foil. But if it's like
Yeah.
within $1, I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
79 cents more for a shiny card, sure. Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. Chart Spark wants to know what's your favorite
That's right.
dragon in MTG, and conversely, what's your least favorite dragon? I'd be kind of surprised if you had a least favorite dragon.
Oh, absolutely. Um, my most favorite dragon. Do I even have a dragon commander? Just looking at my wall, all of my children's displayed. Well, I do have a dragon commander, but that's actually my least favorite one. So, I think my favorite dragon does Narset and Shiko unify. Does that count?
Sure.
No. Okay. Yeah. I think my favorite dragon in Magic, honestly, right now is probably Baitor, just as like a theme and like what he is and represents. Like just the fact that he's all of the Abzon's dead combined into one is like really cool, just like from a lore aspect.
Sure.
So then seeing how that lore translates to the cards, I think is really cool, and I think that it kind of nails on that like Abzon thing. So I think Baitor is currently my favorite dragon. And then my least favorite is specifically my own Fur Crag. Um, it's also it's also my least favorite deck because actually wait no this is not true. It is my least favorite deck. My least favorite dragon is Clouth. I fucking hate Clouth. I hate Clouth. Clouth is everything I hate about a Gruul, right? Just like wrapped up in one card. It doesn't need to be like. Why do you get so much mana? It's not fair. Why do you
Okay.
get on attack? Why is there not like the ability to stop you from doing this unless I counter you, right? Like, I hate it so much. Clouth is my least favorite dragon by far.
Well, I'm shocked you have a least favorite. Now I'm gonna ask you a question like a 6-year-old and ask you, what's your fifth favorite dragon?
Fifth favorite dragon? Um,
When my daughter was real little, like she asked ridiculous questions like that, like, "Daddy, what's your fifth favorite color?"
that's great. I would say
I don't
Ugin.
know. Okay. All right, well, you
Yeah,
had an answer. Great,
there we go.
excellent. I was hoping to stump you on that one.
Gotcha.
George Dolio says, since you are so into magic lore,
Mhm.
which will you consider is the best MTG story and the worst
Confall.
MTG story?
Confall's ooh damn. Confall or just Scars block in general.
Is the best.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll say Confall because that was the turning point in my opinion for Magic, like the bond between Magic lore and the player base like at large was Confall specifically because that was the story where I had people when because I was working out at a card store at the time, I had players who never cared about the lore even though I was spewing it at them all the time, but they came into the shop and they're just like, wait, so what happened? Like this is what happened? That's why dragons are like all over the place. Confall, I think, is specifically the biggest turning point for making lore more relevant in the Magic storyline. So I appreciate it for that much, for sure. But so it's either that specific story, and if we're talking about overall arcs, Scars of Mirrodin for me is everything,
Okay.
everything. Yeah, and then least
And
favorite, right?
least favorite? Yeah.
Um, The Scars of Mirrodin books. We're so bad. The short stories peak.
Yeah.
The books themselves, Wintermute. Don't like that. Don't like that author for Magic. Absolutely not.
Yep. Even with like how
Yeah.
bad some of the books were, though, don't you wish they still existed with each set? Don't you wish that Fat Pack still existed? Or do you? Would you? Are you happier with the stories
Mm.
online?
The stories online are what made me fall in love with it during
Okay.
Scars, right? So as long as those continue in like a very consistent format, I'm always happy. I'm always sated by those. The books, whether they're there or not, those are like nice extra content. But also considering how Wizards, like the game's actual like time scale on their decisions, and then also how far like ahead a book needs to be made, they tend to not be in sync by like a lot, right? So like that's why the comic books are just like their own like f off story. That like they're not tied to anything in reality. They do their own thing. The books also tend to lose traction with what WotC ends up doing in the actual lore by a lot as well, and even the short stories online do too. So like whatever leads to the highest synchronization of like, hey, I read this book and this is what happened, and then this is what happened on the card, so it's true. Whatever leads to like the closest amount of synchronization like that, that's what I'm more for than anything. As much as I do enjoy the books and a nice longer read, things are just like, honestly, they just turn into outright lies if we go by just what the book says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as someone who doesn't care about lore,
Monster. Yeah.
I know. Do you think that that makes people enjoy the game less if they can't get into the story and the characters?
No. Well, if you can't, right? Like
Uh-huh.
if can't is involved where there's just something like abhorrent to you, then yes, I think that would take away from your joy. Like I think that would actually like be a detraction. Um if there's a possibility for it, but you just aren't feeling it, right? Like you haven't found the right character, the right person hasn't talked to you about it, it's just not your vibe. That's fine. I think that's entirely fine. I think that the Vorthosism is like a an added spice to what you already enjoy about the game. It allows you to attach to more things within it, but
Mhm.
you're already still loving Magic to begin with, right? Like people who really, really like super complicated combos. I enjoy those too to a certain extent, but I enjoy the lore more. But both of us are holding on to Magic and how freaking great it is in our own ways.
Okay.
So I don't think it hurts. But if you really like it, that just makes you enjoy it more.
Okay. Now, as somebody who does love magic lore so much,
Mm.
do you feel like that makes you have a harder time enjoying the universes beyond sets because they take you out of the lore?
No, with the amount of speed that we're going through sets, because like cons was, 3 sets, like three sets in a block, and that was perfect, and it remains perfect. But like the quicker that we've gone, the less I've attached to every individual story,
Sure.
unless it kind of like means something. Like for all of Kaldheim, I'll be honest, I blanked out. I blanked out all of Kaldheim because like Kaldheim as like a setting isn't really like my vibe. Just not really into Norse Vikings. Just it just
Mhm.
isn't. So I didn't really even connect with that story. I just kind of picked up the pieces I needed to know, and that was about it. Um, and since we're kind of rapidly going through so many, it allows me to just go like, okay, let me pick up and catch up with Aether Drift and know what I need to know for that at any point while Final Fantasy's popping up, right? Like I could just oh, that's what happened to Aether Drift. Well, I skipped it, but now at least I know that part. I didn't skip it, by the way. Um, and while Final Fantasy's doing its thing, and also, with Final Fantasy, there's not a distinction or like a separation between like the card and the real lore, right? It's a 1-to-1 because that's WotC going like, okay, Cloud killed this person.
Uh-huh.
Let me draw that on a card. Okay, that's Cloud killing this person. And that's true. And I get to connect with even more people based on like why they really like that moment, right? Like the whole Eris and Sephiroth thing. I don't really know why it's so important in the story, but when that is depicted on the card, I'm gonna have people freaking out, and I'll be like, "Ooh, what are we so excited for?" And then I'll just learn something new, and it'll be completely 100% accurate instead of not accurate, like we have even in cons of Tarkir Dragonstorm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, along those same lines regarding Universes Beyond, is there an IP that would be like your dream
Star Wars.
IP for? Wait, let me finish my sentence, girl.
Fine. I just know what you're saying. Okay.
God. Star Wars?
Yeah,
Okay. I mean,
100%.
unlikely since they just started their own game, but maybe it's
Final
possible.
Fantasy started their own game only a couple years ago, and it's already so. And
Yeah,
okay, Star Wars starts up their own card game
like every 5 years.
every 5 years. So like
Unlimited
I
is
worked,
doing really well though.
and that's good to hear. I
Mhm.
was there at a card store when they had the dice top game. Shatterpoint's different. The dice top game thing, and I still have like a deck somewhere. Like I I good for any Star Wars game that makes it. I love Star Wars like
Mhm.
entirely. If there's Star Wars magic, and with how well the universes beyond has been flavorfully for all of like the things that they're doing, I know that I'll just like be foaming at the mouth with every single card I look at because I'll just be like, "Oh my god, Luke Skywalker's his Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi is like a 4/4 because that's like the ultimate balance in the Force, and it's like it's episode 6 and it balances it and like that's oh my god, like Anakin, little baby Anakin starting as like red, and then like Anakin Padawan like red black or red blue, and then Darth Vader is like Grixis. Like I that would make me so yeah, no, it would just be perfect. I think Star Wars would be a perfect fit in Magic, and I think Magic would do it so well, so well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, say they did a Universes Beyond Star Wars.
Okay.
Who are you cosplaying?
So, Luke Skywalker, Return of
Yeah.
the Jedi specifically is my favorite Jedi.
Oh, the all black
Um,
outfit.
oh god, he's so fucking sexy. He's so hot. Oh my god. And it was the first time we saw a green
You're not
lightsaber
wrong.
too. Oh, Um, I love that. So yeah, that would be what I would do. I actually used to be part of a local cosplay group for Star Wars called Northridge Star Wars Group. We would put
Oh, okay.
shows on at our local baseball stadium every year. And I would dress up as a Jedi and my own custom Jedi character. I have the lightsaber right here. It's like a staff lightsaber pike thing, and I would have this hair and still parents would go, "Hey, oh, it's Mace Windu," and that would just be what it was. And then every
Yeah.
kid would go, "Mom, you're wrong. That's not Mace Windu," and I'd just be like, "Hell yeah, kid," because they knew, but the parents wouldn't. So I would cosplay as Luke Skywalker. I will still be referred to as Mace Windu somehow. So take that for what you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Um, so we got a couple more questions in the chat. Chat, this is
yeah.
an AMA. Don't forget to drop those questions for Kuro. And of course, Triple Sevens is here with the most important question of all.
Oh.
What's your favorite sandwich?
Uh, something with honey mustard. I would do ham, cheese, pepper jack cheese, turkey, panini with honey mustard and lettuce. Definitely, I need some crunchy lettuce on that. Mm-hmm.
Crunchy lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
That sounds very tasty.
That would fix me if I had that right now.
There's something just amazing about paninis and what little heat does to a sandwich, you know?
It just completely
It's,
completely changes it.
it gets all the things that should be crunchy, crunchy, and all the things that
Mm-hmm.
should be gooey, get gooey.
Yes. Yes.
Miss miss it.
I need a panini machine for sure.
George Dolio asks, "What other stories or lore do you enjoy outside of Magic and Universes Beyond?"
Well, especially because it's not in universes beyond yet. Game of Thrones. I actually really like Game of Thrones.
Uh-huh.
Every year it happens like clockwork. I gotta figure out like what season it is so I can prepare for it. But every year I'll just get into like a Game of Thrones kick where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I remember this, I remember this, I remember this. I'll start consuming a bunch of content around it, and then there's like multiple video games I play that have really good mods to turn them into Game of Thrones, and
Okay.
that'll become like my new addiction game. Like
Like
every
Stardew Valley?
waking it would be like Stardew Valley for is there Stardew Valley Game of Thrones?
I'm sure somebody could make it. I don't know if it
Ooh, don't tell me
exists.
that. Don't tell me that. Oh, but yeah, like I'll do Game of Thrones mod games, and it for like a solid 4 months. That'll be every waking free moment I have. I'll be playing those. It gets really bad where I just have to like delete the game. But yeah, Game of Thrones. I'm super into Game of Thrones, and universes beyond Game of Thrones would be ruinous for my
Civilization as
financials.
Game of Thrones. That would be
And
pretty cool.
I did do a review on Civilization 7, so if they're once they get mods for that,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be there. I
And
mainly do Crusader Kings 3 and Bannerlord. Those are the top two Game of Thrones mod games.
okay, very
hmm
cool.
hmm
What else do we have here? More questions.
Bring it on, chat. I'm here to answer
Come
them
on,
all.
chat out. Reversal Wizard.
Oh my god, this goofy.
Why do
Okay,
you
all
like
right.
Jeskai so much?
Um, so like my personal colors are Esper. That's definitely like who I am the most. But red is definitely like it's probably my tertiary color, more so than black. But Jeskai, I'm also like Azorius. Azorius is like my two color scheme. I like order. I like structure. Um, and I prefer Azorius when it's done in such a way where like there's a lot of freedom within that structure. There's just guidelines and bars for the sake of like everyone's enjoyment, right? Jeskai is that nice, like really passion addition. Not the angry version of red, but the passion part of red that I always felt is like the best aspect of red to explore, way
Okay.
more than goblins and stuff. That brings like, okay, I know that you like order and structure and everything, but know that there's like more to life than that. And you, as long you can order yourself, but go out into the world that's full of chaos, and you acknowledge that, but you still have an inner peace to yourself. And I think that's like that appeals to me a lot. To be just like good and calm with yourself, which is I aspire to be. I'm definitely not, but I aspire to be. And then but still going out and living, regardless of how chaotic everything is. So that's why I like the Just Guy so much.
All right, that was a very well thought out answer. Excellent.
Thank you.
Um, which Magic set in 2025 are you most excited about?
Edge of Eternities.
That's what
hmm
everybody says.
Yep. I am. That is. Tarkir has done wonders, right? Like I didn't realize how much I missed Tarkir until finally having this all. So don't get me wrong. I'm loving everything about Tarkir.
Mm-hmm.
But like Final Fantasy, it was like as a long running series, I just never got into it. So like I'll enjoy that for sure. But Edge of Eternities, Magic, truly stepping foot into a space opera set sort of thing, and I mean I just kind of trust WotC. I trust WotC when they're doing so much work to try something new like this. It's not a hat set. It's not let's take random characters and throw them in a new setting and give them all the same outfits, like Aether Drift. It's not that. It's its own setting and worlds and characters and people living there, and I want to know what they're gonna do. Okay, like is there spaceships? Are they gonna separate this into different lanes? and we're gonna have a space lane and a ground lane. I don't know, but it's whatever it is. It sets up for Star Wars in the future, and so I'm here for it.
You actually just described Star Wars Unlimited. I'm not
Let's
joking.
go. Damn right I did. I can't wait. Give me Star Wars.
That is truly how you play Star Wars Unlimited. There's a ground arena and a space arena. You can only fight in one or the other. You
Give me
got
some Mon Calamari spaceships, and I'm there, baby.
it. um, let's see. Georgia Dolio says, in 60 card formats, which archetype do you hate playing against?
Um, whatever. What was the card that depicted Sarkhan going into the past? The extra turn spell that shuffled back in. Um, Nexus of
Oh,
Fate.
Nexus of Fate.
Nexus of. I think that was abhorrent because like I'm okay to die the combo. I'm okay to lose the infinite turns because like it is at a certain point it's just the right thing to say. I can't beat infinite turns. That's just it's just okay. Like you won, you got there. That was a deck where like there was a chance that your opponent just like top decks 2 lands, so then their turns stop, and then you took your turn, and then you can win. So the fact that both of us, but I'm the one suffering here, um, would have to like my strategically best move was to sit there and hope that randomness would just hurt you more. I think that's awful. I think that's like the worst gameplay style you can have in one-on-one. I'm okay with control. Control is fine because control is trying to win, right? Like control has an Ugin to play that will get that that will take over the game and that's it. Nexus of Fate is just like I'm going to try to make sure I keep on taking infinite turns, but I could just whiff. I could just draw 2 lands and that's just kind of it. So you got to sit here. Like you have to sit here because if you scoop you through the game, like you gotta sit here and deal with it. I think awful. I think dreadful, dreadful gameplay style.
All right.
Terrible. Yeah, yeah.
Very passionate about this answer. I
hmm
enjoy it. Reversal Wizard wants to know, what has Magic meant to you, and why do you continue to play it?
Um, I'd say everything. But I think it's more. Magic has meant everything outside of the things that have to be like meaningful to me, right? Like work has to be meaningful no matter what job I have, right? I do like this job. But no matter what job it is, like I gotta care at some level about work so I can make enough money so I can live, right? Like that's kind of forced upon me in a way. You know. Or but in terms of like whether I'm really like in the mood to be like intellectually stimulated, I have Magic. If I just want to look at pretty pictures, I have Magic. If I want to read cool stories, I have Magic. If I want to look at a game that's so well designed and crafted 90% of the time, and like just have every bit of like just my mind firing on all cylinders, I got Magic. And
Mm-hmm.
if I need something that's going to distract me from the world, I also got Magic. So it's like it is everything that I don't have to care about. And that's good. It's good to have that.
Okay. Now I'm going to play off of that question and give
Mhm.
you the reverse of it.
Mhm.
What would get you to quit Magic? What mistake could Watsi make to make Kuro Hitsuki sell all of his Magic cards and give up the game?
Back down on trans rights. Um Back down on like progressive
Mm-hmm.
social advancement. That would make me do it for sure.
Sure.
Um and I mean I don't think there's anything else that's as snap decision for me than
Mm-hmm.
that. Um remove me from all the programs and stuff. That hurts. That would suck, of course, right? Like that'll, but I think that's, yeah, there's nothing equal to that for me to just like, no, right? Um, but I love the game a lot. So there's a lot that I
Yeah.
like would forgive. I can forgive a bad set. I can forgive Karlov Manor. I can forgive ruining Ravnica for that set or whatever. I can forgive Brask being dead. I know he's not. It's fine. It's great. But like I can forgive quite a bit because like there's always another set too, right? Like there's if one world is meh, that's all right. There's another one that I can really really like, So there's always ups and downs. But I think it's only like um company wide decisions
Yeah.
that would ever truly make me turn on that.
Um, so we had Gavin Verhey on here a couple weeks ago, and I asked him, like, I gave him the hypothetical, like, uh, there was that rumor going around about Elon Musk buying Hasbro in order to, stop D&D from being, woke.
Hmm.
And I asked him about that, like, say that happens, and on day one, Elon Musk says, you know, you can't have trans people in Magic cards or lore, and any LGBTQ, no, and I asked him like, what's your response? How do you react to that? And he had to give a very measured response because
Of
he is
course,
actually
of
in
course.
that job. He can't just
Right,
say
right,
whatever he
right.
wants, but he was very clear about the fact that he would definitely fight that outcome.
Yeah,
In
that would
whatever way that
be
means, I don't know because he couldn't
right,
say. But
right, right, right. That
I think
I
most people at WotC would agree with you
yeah,
with that
I
stance.
would agree. Like there would be ways for sure for them to fight that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, honestly, like the only time because with how much Elon Musk actually cares about like actually truly cares about D&D and of course like
Right.
Magic, he only things that would like someone posting on Twitter to get his attention would bring the Eye of Sauron over this way to be like, wait a minute, I said no, well, wags finger. So like I think that Magic would honestly continue as it was, in a lot of ways, right? In a
Yeah.
lot of ways, until someone who was already going to be a terrible shitter anyway decided to make a funk out of something I knew they were going to make a funk out of anyway. Um, but that's also the darkest timeline, right? Like that is the
Right.
darkest timeline.
Yeah, and
And
it was just like an
yeah,
offhand comment that he made that like just started people up, like saying, "Oh
right,
my
right,
God,
right.
Musk." And he just said like, "How
Yeah,
much is Hasbro?" And then,
yeah. I
but it wasn't a big thing. Like,
yeah,
but
I
he's
knew that
he's
was like never going to be like a real thing. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
too busy demolishing democracy right now to really care
Everything
about
else,
Hasbro.
yeah. Hmm.
He's got
Hmm.
other things going on. Let's see. We got a couple more questions in here. Joe Kilcar VA says, "Who have you always wanted to play with, or wished to play Magic with?"
Is it cringe to just say everyone, right?
Yes,
Um,
you can
okay,
say
in that
everyone.
case, everyone. No, like I enjoy games of Magic with people. I enjoy in some way like a kid being able to say like, "Hey, this is like the painting I made, and it's a Magic deck, and like this is why I like it. Here's the different colors. This is this character doing this thing, and that's a Magic deck for me, right? So I do like to be able to show off what I got to anyone that will listen. And so yeah, like being able to connect because I also want to see everyone else's pretty pictures too, right? Um, so the more people I can do that with, the more pictures I get to see, the more aspects of their life that they put into their decks I get to live through and experience. Um, and I mean that means a lot to me. So the cliche answer is everyone, but that also means that I get to talk to just really cool people, right? No matter how big or small they are creator wise, like everyone has some aspect of themselves that they put into this deck. Whether it's something I don't like, or turbo stacks, or turbo aggro, or just like here's my ladies looking left, or people in the chair, like whatever it is, or is someone brand new. I love playing against like brand new people because I get to like tell them, hey, did you know that you could do this, and they're like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like everyone is who I'd love to play with, or anyone I could say, um, but and on a more specific basis, every like there's so many people in Hollywood, the music industry, etc., that do play Magic just on their own time, right? Just like with their friends at home. So I would love to find more of those people who play Magic and then play Magic with them, right? Like whether it's Post Malone or Gerard Way. That would be great. If Gerard Way plays Magic, that would send me. That would send me. Okay, like just like let
Okay.
like that I could die happy with that. So yeah, I would like to play Gerard Way in Magic.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
We've got just a few minutes left here. Let's crank out a few
Alrighty,
more questions from chat. Zillosaurus Rex asks, "What plane or planes would you visit, and what plane would you live on?"
I live on Esper because that aesthetic is my vibe. Um, I would visit just like a nice little countryside stroll. I think I would visit whatever Edge of Eternities is. I'm there. Hit me
Whatever
up,
that's going
right?
to be called.
I'll visit that. Give me a space. Oh God, give me a starship. So I'd visit there. I would live on Esper because that's who I am. And then what was the last one? Was it just those two?
What plane would you live on, and what plane would you visit? Was the whole
Okay, yeah,
question.
yeah. So it's just those two. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
And Esper
Reversal Wizard.
specifically, not Alara. Esper.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You good? Reversal Wizard wants to know, why do you resonate with Urabrask over the other Praetors?
um, in so of all the Praetors in the original art, think he might have been the only one with actual flavor text. But I mean, literally ever since the moment where the Mirrans had lost, and I'm like, oh, the good guy, like the people I was rooting for, the good guys lost, the bad guys won, and I learned that like Urabrask let them live in like the core with him. Not allying himself with them. He's still a Phyrexian at the end of the day, but he's just like do your thing, right? Like you, as long as you have the passion to live, you're living by your truth, and that's all I really care about. So knowing that no matter what the perversion that Phyrexia puts on each color, like Elish Norn perversion of Phyrexia on white is being what she is, right? Like +2/+2 to all your people, but -2/-2 to everyone else. That's white in its like most perverted sense, but still mono white, right? Not black white, mono white. Shieldred children. Jingataxis, that's the worst aspects, untamed aspects of blue, and he lives that truth, and I vibe with that. I hate green anyway, so it doesn't matter. It could be Phyrexian or or good green. I don't like him. But Vorinclex, right? But no matter what Phyrexianization you put on red, no matter the perversion it is, red is still honest to itself, which is freedom, right? Like that's like an incredibly in-depth view of a color that I believe most people just write off the most as just saying like angry, fire, rage, no brain sort of thing. That's green, people. Come on. But like freedom at its core is an aspect of red that no matter what Phyrexianization does, can't take away. And I like that character study of that color is what means the most to me. Um, in 2011, like how Magic was presented to me, like in all the intro decks, they kind of give you that color wheel, and they tell you like the different adjectives of type of person you are in those colors. They don't really do that anymore, right? Because like you yourself aren't a planeswalker in the story anymore. You're just here's a racing set, right? Here's like the characters doing a thing. But like I got into Magic when they're trying to pull you as a person into the game and find colors
Sure.
that your personality aligns with, not just character archetypes. So to see that exploration of a very specific color that I felt was always the most maligned done in a character, in an evil one at that, just I mean, to my core, still to this day, like still just shakes me and goes, "Damn, Magic is so good. It's so good." So yeah, so that's why it's like Urbask forever, forever.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that is a much more philosophical look at the color
Mm-hmm.
pie than I could ever come up with. You are a deep man, Kurohitsuki.
Thank you very much. I
I
appreciate that.
envy your big brains.
Oh, and my luscious locks, of course.
And you're well. I wasn't gonna go there, but
I mean, you know, we were all thinking it's okay.
we are. Let's just do a couple more questions from chat if you have time.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got all the time in the world.
All right. Big Lil Sis 1123 says, "What's your favorite art from a card?"
Favorite art from a card is going to be something by Magali. Oh, no. My favorite on the card, because Magali is I always say Magali is my favorite current Magic artist. My favorite art on a card, do I have her out? It's Teysa, Envoy of Ghosts, specifically. Teysa, Envoy of Ghosts, drawn by, um, oh my god. Wow. I had the name on the tip of my tongue, and now I've forgotten. But I follow her on Twitter. I absolutely love her work. But that specifically was very like connected to my formative days in Magic. And like just everything about Teysa as a character, from like top down, from the insane mana cost that's awful, from the fact that she came out in Dragon Maze, which was awful, the art, which is beautiful, and Carlo Ortiz, thank you. The art, which is just objectively perfect, and then the abilities, which also speak a lot to her as a character. I would say it's definitely Envoy of Ghost Teysa specifically. She means a lot to me, and I kind of mean that not in a gross way, but yeah, she was definitely part of my formative time in Magic, and also just growing up as a man, I guess,
As a dude.
as a guy or whatever.
As a dude, bro. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do one more question from chat. Shannibal wants to know, what is your
Oh.
favorite convention to attend outside of Magic Cons?
PAX East. Yep, PAX East in Boston. I like being able to demo video games, and that one has like the biggest amount of physical video games to demo, as well as like tabletop stuff on the
Mhm.
sides. But I haven't been able to be at the PAX East in like a while, so I really look forward to going this year. And I've all the cons I've gone to in the past 2 years have all been like tabletop mainly focused, right? Like there's been either a small pittance of video games at like a DreamHack or something, but it's all been tabletop, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but like I find some forever video games at PAX East, so that's my favorite one. Hmm.
Okay. We are coming to close here. We're going to do our
All right,
lightning round questions. Kurohitsuki,
all
just a
right.
few quick questions before we say goodnight to everybody. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Starship Troopers.
Wow, interesting choice. Favorite musician or band?
Gerard Way, My Chemical Romance.
Okay. Favorite video game?
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Okay. Favorite food?
Chicken Alfredo.
Chicken
Pasta.
Alfredo. Last thing you ate?
Chicken and waffles.
Oh, jealous. I love chicken and
Mm-hmm.
waffles. Favorite adult beverage?
Espresso martinis.
Oh my god. We're gonna have to talk after we close this stream up, buddy. Favorite
Yeah.
Pokemon?
Lugia.
Lugia. Okay, excellent. Kurohitsuki, thank you so much for being on
Absolutely.
What's Up. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've been good friends for quite a while, and it's been very nice having you here. Even if you have horrible taste in adult beverages.
Yeah.
Before we go, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you online, how they can support you, and any upcoming events you're going to be at?
Yeah. I will be at Vegas. I will be at PAX East. I will be at DreamHack. I will be at other Magicons. I will be at Dragon Con, I think, for the first time this year. I'm gonna be at places. I'll also be at work. So um but you can support me. I do have a Patreon. Just look up Kurohitsuki on Patreon. But honestly, through Twitch. Twitch is my main platform. Just come through. Watch me play some Magic. Discuss some Magic topics with me. I've been getting more into YouTube, so if you want to follow me there as well. We've been doing deck constructions with chat, then cutting it up and uploading it to YouTube live. So that's been like a really, really, really fun experience. But yeah, like I'm all over the place. Kurohitsuki everywhere. And yeah, just come on through, see the vibes, see me take those long-winded answers, pull my hair out trying to figure out how to shorten it to a 1-minute TikTok clip, and
Yep.
seeing what I make.
Yeah. Shannable, yes. Espresso martinis are just fine. I was just teasing Kuro. Okay.
I love them so
Kinda.
much. They're my weakness. They're my weakness.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at Zupkeep. That's Zupkeep. We will be back next week at our normal Tuesday time with the incomparable Rachel Weeks. So make
Ooh,
sure you come and hang out next week.
hell yeah.
Now, we are going to send the love on over to
Bruh.
a previous guest, Brouhaha. So hang out with them and take care, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Alrighty.